This lesson continues with the design and implementation of the game of pig. We'll develop a skeletal algorithm for implementing the method playGame in the class GameController. In this short lesson, you'll learn the skeletal algorithm for implementing the method playGame. This method is the one that orchestrates the playing of the game between two players. This method asks each player to play in turn. It asks the decision of each player whether to roll or hold, keeps track of the scores in turn and total scores using the player score manager as a collaborator, and displays the appropriate messages on console screen and also prompts the user to provide the needed input. We will begin the development of the skeletal algorithm to implement the method playGame. This method is in control of the game until one of the players win the game. We write this as while player A has not won and player B has not won. Inside this loop, the method orchestrates the playing of the game. This while loop terminates only when either player A or player B has won. So outside the loop, we determine the winner and display an appropriate message. Inside the main while loop of playGame, the tasks are to display whose turn it is to play, handle player A's turn, handle player B's turn. So the first thing we do on entering the main while loop is display whose turn it is to play. Handling player A's turn is written as while player A's turn not over and no one has won. In a similar manner, handling player B's turn is written as while player B's turn not over and no one has won. Now we will take up the inner while loop in which player A's turn is to be handled. We will now develop that part of the algorithm that handles player A's turn. Consider the statement while player A's turn not over and no one has won. We will now enter this loop when player A's turn is not over and no one has won. The first thing we do is to ask player to roll or hold. The player provides the decision on whether to roll or hold. If the decision is to roll, then we manage the roll of the die and update the turn score. If the decision is to hold, we do not roll the die and the turn score remains unchanged. If the value rolled on die is 1, then the player's turn is over. So we set the score to 0. If the value rolled is not 1, then the else part of the if statement is executed. Here we check if value rolled is one of 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6. If it is any of these, then we increase the turn score. We display the player's turn score. If the decision of the player is to hold, the statements following else shown in red color are executed. In this, we note that the decision is to hold and update the scores. Then we display the player scores. The next step is to check if player A has won or not. Look at the part that is highlighted in red color. We check if player A has not won. If player A has not won, we display the scores and player A continues. Control resumes at the while loop by checking the condition. If player A has won, we add turn score to total score and then display scores. With this, we exit the while loop. At this time, either the player A's turn is over or player A has won. The segment of the algorithm to handle player B's turn is similar to the one for player A. This requires no further explanation. We now have the parts for the complete skeletal algorithm to implement the method playGame. In the next lesson, we'll make use of the skeletal algorithm and refine it into a Java program that implements playGame.